Hello guys! Today we're going to be going back to our roots and I am going to be giving you a comprehensive list of all of the books that got me through my childhood. Now, not to make this video a sob story about my life, but I do not remember my childhood and it's probably a good thing that I don't. What I do remember is the books that I read and the maladaptive daydreams that I came up with in my head. Those I remember more than my actual childhood, which is a little bit concerning if I think about it for too long, but I don't think about it. So, grab your drinks, grab your snacks. I have myself a pink slush Alani. This is one of the best flavors that they have. Guys, I also found out they came out with a purple cotton candy flavored Alani. I swear, if I don't get my hands on that, if I don't get my paws on that Alani, I cannot explain to you how excited I am about this flavor. This is probably the most exciting flavor that they've ever come out with. And I swear, if I do not get my grubby little paws on one of those Alanis, I will do some... I probably won't harm anyone, but I will definitely throw a tantrum. That's for sure. Anyways, let's open our pink slush Alani because she never fails me. Never. Oh yeah. The first book that I ever picked up that I ever genuinely remember reading and just absolutely enjoying, and I ate that shit up in like 2 days, was Alice in Wonderland. I vividly remember I was in 2nd grade. Our teacher had like a little bookshelf and I just went over there and I picked out a book because I was bored and I didn't have anything to do because I am an overachiever and I always finish my work early, and so there was nothing for me to do, and so she would suggest me to go read a book, and that's what I did. And I picked up Alice in Wonderland and I have been a reader to my core ever freaking since. I remember reading that book like in my little desk, just like being completely surrounded. Like I was so into this story that I literally had to like pull myself back out and come to reality. Like Alice in Wonderland will always hold a special place in my heart because of that. She really is that girl. I'm literally gonna get emotional, okay? I literally remember, because we weren't allowed to read books at home. I know, it's a FLDS, it's a cult thing, I know. But I remember sneaking that book in my house and reading it every night under my covers so that I wouldn't get caught. Alice in Wonderland is basically a girl who falls down a rabbit hole and finds herself in this like topsy-turvy, weird, fantastical world. Basically, that's it. She makes such terrible, awful decisions, but at the same time, we're like, yes, follow your curiosity. Yeah, that's the first one. I love Alice in Wonderland. Second book that is just like my all-time favorite. I resonated with this book so hard that I literally tried to become the main character. I mean, honestly, if we're speaking our truth here, I really was that character. And that book is Matilda. This book, it rivaled Alice in Wonderland, but I'm gonna put it on the second of the list because Alice in Wonderland is like the first book that like I just got into. Matilda is basically a really brilliant girl who is like a misfit in her family, and then she discovers she has telekinetic powers where she can basically like lift things with her eyeballs. Then she uses it to defeat her evil principal at her school, and then she ends up finding like people who actually care about her and somebody who can adopt her and care for her like an actual child should be cared for. Matilda was literally me as a child. I am literally like the middle child of all middle children. My parents had a large family and I was smack dab in the middle, and being forgotten, being looked over, not really ever being considered, having to like figure everything out myself. Matilda spoke to me and taught me how to be okay. She taught me that being alone and figuring stuff out by myself was okay, and then I could do that. And I will always love that book. The second book, which is actually a book series, I literally would binge these books. The Magic Tree House, obviously. I feel like a lot of people have heard of the Magic Tree House. It's about two siblings, Jack and Annie. They discover a magical tree house with like all of these books in it. They have to like open the book and like point to a picture and like wish, and then the magic tree house will like spin and like transport them there to the wherever the book is. And then like each book would have like a different like place and time that they would be transported and all of that. There was just something about that where I just was like, oh, it'd be so amazing if I could have a tree house and it would just take me far, far away, anywhere I wanted to go. Next book, which is also part of a book series, is obviously Percy Jackson. I will never let Percy Jackson go. He was literally my first boy crush ever. He holds a special place in my heart. That entire series is so freaking good. Percy Jackson, basically, he's like a demigod. He's like the son of Poseidon, and he finds out that there's actually like a camp for half-bloods, and they go and like train or whatever. Also, by the way, I'm in cabin 5, which is Aries, which is so funny because I am an Aries. My zodiac sign is an Aries. So this next book, I don't know if a lot of people have heard about this book or if I'm the one that's unaware and it's actually a really popular book, but there was this one book that I had to read for a book report one time, and it was called James and the Giant Peach, about like this orphan who lives with his like evil aunt. And then one night, then like this peach just grows into like a giant peach outside of his house. And then he ends up like going into the peach. That book was like so good. Imagine reading that book now, like around like fall, like October, Halloween time. That would literally be the best time ever. Oh my gosh. Another book. This one is a standalone book, but for a long time, this book was my favorite book ever, The Islands of Chaldea. So this, oh my gosh, this one was so good. It basically any book that involves like a group of people, found family, going on a quest, traveling, I am here for it. And I distinctly remember two main things about this is that there's like a little lizard that can turn into like a flying dragon, and they have it like pull like a giant basket to like carry them to like the next island or wherever they're going, if I remember correctly. But I just remember the world building and like the setting being everything to me in that book, and it was literally my favorite book for a really long time. Okay, another series that I feel like I've seen nobody talk about this series. It's called Companions Quartet. It's about this girl named Connie. She can communicate with different like mythical creatures, so they call her like a universal because she can communicate with like all of them. And then there's like this ancient like shapeshifter who's like the bad guy, and they're trying to like defeat him, but also she like accidentally ends up creating some kind of bond with him and like understanding him. And this book is literally the moment that I realized that like, you know, characters can actually be morally gray. Characters aren't always black and white, if that makes sense. And for that revolutionized my brain, and reading just got so much more immersive and deep after this book series. Okay, this one is also a very, very big favorite of mine, and I will literally hound anybody who will listen to me to read it. I don't care if you're 50 years old or if you're 5 days old. You need to read this series. It is literally so good. So this book series is called A Hero's Guide to Saving Your Kingdom. There's 3 books in this series. It's a twist on like the modern day like fairy tale where like the prince rescues the princess and is like so brave and strong and skilled and like saves the day and is a hero. That is not the case with these. Okay, the heroes are actually bumbling fools, idiots. They have like been rejected by their like fairy tale like princesses, and now there's like a plot in the kingdom that they have to like get over their fears and like all of their like very human stuff that like a not normal prince would have, and like try to work together. And it's just so good. I would sit here and stare at the illustrations for this book because they were just so good. Like this style of illustration is literally my favorite style of illustration ever to this day. The last book series that we have on here that really, I literally binged all of these books in a day and a half. I literally remember not being able to put these books down. I would put it down and I would like try to go do something else. I literally couldn't. I would immediately go back to these books because they were that good to me at the time. So this is the Door Within trilogy. It's a fantasy trilogy basically where this boy finds that there's like a parallel universe where it's like there's like knights and dragons and stuff. It starts off with him in like the modern day world and he gets sucked into this other parallel universe where your character from the real world is a different character in this different universe, and there's like dragons and magic and knights and like fighting and all of like the good old nostalgic like knights, Merlin, Arthur type vibes, you know, like the sorcery and the, you know. I did not realize this at the time, obviously, but this is a little bit of like a Christian fantasy. It has like a lot of like biblical themes in it, but regardless, I still loved it, and you don't really have to pay attention to that if you don't want to. What got me with this book series is I remember this is the first book series that I ever read where something tragic happens at the end, but it's literally so bittersweet that you can't be mad about it. Like, I don't know, I have a very dear place in my heart about this series because, whew, that was quite a ride. I was literally eyes on the page for like the entire day as I finished this book series. And then when I finished it, I was literally in the worst slump. I was literally just sat there like, what do I do now? That's all of the books that I have on my list I can think of right now. I've read thousands of books by now, especially when I was a child, so I can't like remember them all off the top of my head. But these are the ones that stuck with me the most. I'm just glad that I had something in my childhood that was like good and pure and, you know, just kept me going because I don't remember much of my childhood, and it's probably a good thing. But these books kept me going. They kept me hoping, they kept me dreaming, and I just hope that like when my daughter comes of age and she reads these same books that she feels the way I felt. Reading these for the first time just gave me a different kind of hope and a different kind of perspective in the world, and it made me brave enough to become the person I am today. And I will just forever thank people who write for children again and again, because it is so important to have literature that inspires you even from like a very, very young age. That's all of the books that I have for today. Let me know your favorite children's books in the comments below so that I can check them out. One thing that I do want to do is I want to get all of these books that I talked about in my physical form and put them on my bookshelf so that when my daughter's of age, she can read them. And I'm really excited for that. I just haven't collected them yet because I didn't even know buying books was a thing back then. I was just going to the library. But I will be purchasing all of these books and having them on hand for when she turns into my little buddy reader, and I'm so excited. I want to know what some of your guys' favorite childhood books were, so comment them below and I'll be sure to check those out. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. If you're interested in seeing more from me, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!